let's get rid of all the fuss, remove all the unnecessary complexities, and get back to the basics. Episode 1, the basics. So, step number 1, you're going to choose an instrument. This can be ukulele, guitar, keyboard, just anything that is easy and simple for you to just get your hands on. Like, for example, you can rent out equipment at libraries or from friends. You can also get inexpensive versions online, and just something simple to learn on. Number 2, music theory. Now, don't stress. Do not stress. You're not expected to become Mozart overnight, obviously, but here is a 30-minute video that goes over mostly everything that you need to start. Or if that's a little bit too long for you, here's an 8-minute video that's basically a huge over summary, but an amazing way to get your head around what music is. And then if you love a crash course, if you love a step-by-step kind of thing situation, here is a crash course that you can do, which I found amazing. It helped me when I first learned music. And if that's not your forte, and if those are all too long for you, your attention span might be screwed. But there are other options, especially if you just want to start getting your hands on it, start getting started. You can learn chords. Learning chords without understanding music theory, not the best idea. But some people just want to get started and then learn as they go. So, step number 3, chords. Simple explanation, typically 3 notes. The first, which is like if you're in the C major scale, C, and then the third, which would be an E, and then the 5th note, which would be a G, for example, in a C major chord. And they typically are split up into 2 big categories, which are like the easiest ones to learn: major and minor. And the difference between them is, first of all, the tonality. The third note, number 3, the middle one, number 3, in the chord is different between the 2. And typically people say that major chords sound happy, minor chords sound a little sad or somber. But honestly, the best place to start is to just start with what's it called, your A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Learn the major version, the minor version, and then just write down how the chords make you feel. And then from there you can learn inversions of the chords, like for example, putting these 3 notes together in a different order. Instead of 1, 3, 5, you can do like the 5th, the 3rd, and then the 1st. And see how that sounds. How does that make you feel? And from there, now that you know how the chords make you feel and the type of sound that they make, step number 4, chord progressions. So this is the order in which you put the chords together. So let's say you start with an A chord, and then you go to a C chord, and then you go to a D chord. That sounds very different from going from a D chord to an A chord to a C chord. And these chords have different numbering systems. I know this is sounding a little bit complicated, and it honestly did sound very complicated when I first learned music theory. But I think really diving deep into step number 2 will help you so much in learning everything there is to understand. So then it's a little bit easier to get to the levels where you're like putting things together and you're understanding why they sound good together, why they don't sound good together, why they have that certain pattern and order. Because a lot of music is pattern recognition and the way that things are put together and ordered. And knowing the rules means it's much more creative and fun to break the rules. But at the end of the day, it's just sound. Like, there's no way that you can say this sound is worse than that sound, because they're all just noises. Anyways, some very common chord progressions, for example, in pop punk, which we all love and enjoy. So we've got the first chord, the tonic, which would be, for example, in a C major scale, would be the C chord, and then you've got the 5th, which would be a G chord, and then you've got the 6th, which would be an A minor chord, and then you go to the 4th, which would be an F chord. This is a really fun way to transition from your 1st to your 5th and then back down. Typically songs start in the tonic and then end in the tonic. It's like a resolution, a way to end the song beautifully and to say, yeah, it's done now. You know, like when you end on an open chord, for example, the 5th or the 4th, it's like, is it still going? Is it not? But also that could be a really cool artistic thing you do with your music. Anyways, rock and roll music, which a lot of people really enjoy, typically a very common chord progression would be 1st, 4th, 5th, which would be in the C scale, C, F, G. And I'm gonna add the sounds to the video so you can hear what they sound like. You don't need to, or you don't need to cry. And then one that's very like sensitive and emotional would go like the 6th, the 4th, the 1st, and then the 5th. So like it would sound like, for example, in C major it'd be like A minor, F major, C major, G major. Just something that's got a little bit more oomph, a little bit more pizzazz into it. Now, I know that this has been a lot of information all in one go, so let's just do a quick summary so that you can start, you know, going on your own musical journey. So number 1, choose an instrument: ukulele, guitar, piano, keyboard. Number 2, learn some music theory, and then here are all your options. I would go for this one, the 30-minute video. Number 3, chords. Starting something simple, listen to how they sound, write down how they make you feel, and then from there, chord progressions. Putting different chords together to create like a audiological story. Yeah. So I hope this helps you, especially because the basics are important for building on top of. And I will see you in episode 2. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below what you loved, what you'd like to see next. Subscribe to the channel to get updates on every single video that I upload, and share with your friends, family, anyone you think might enjoy my content. And don't forget, never be afraid to take up space.